Rove, former deputy chief of staff for President George W. Bush, co-founder and advisor at American Crossroads, and a Fox News contributor. Carl's got his jacket and tie on for his big interview on the story today. Carl, always good to see you. You know, this just seems very odd. I don't understand why an entire Senate body would accede to the wardrobe desires of one senator. That certainly appears to be what's happening here, Carl.
Yeah, self-centered. You know, but he must be a very fragile person that he can't dress up in a coat and tie without somehow feeling threatened or abused or awkward. You know, this is just pathetic. With all due respect to the senator, we know that he has some continuing health issues, but to lower the decorum of the Senate, to say that that an intern or a page has to dress in business suits, but that the senator from Pennsylvania can be allowed to come in his hoodie and his shorts and his athletic gear to the floor of the United States Senate, one of the most important deliberative bodies in the world, that he can come that way because otherwise he would feel uncomfortable and he would feel unpleasant and he might feel threatened or somehow, you know, made to feel bad if he's forced to wear a coat and a tie like every other male in the body.
Yeah, you know, it means there have to be some sort of decorum in the Senate and in the House and in the White House. You know, I doubt that when you worked in the Bush administration, you would have felt comfortable showing up in your sweatpants even to work in the Oval Office, much less to work in the United States Senate. And it just seems like it shatters in many ways the decorum. People just sort of act a little bit better, I think, when they're dressed properly for work and they have reverence for the environment that they work in, no?
Absolutely. And look, this is an important body and it's televised and everybody else is dressed in a respectful manner. And here comes the guy. And again, because it is his own personal desire, it's his own vulnerability that makes him uncomfortable somehow or another putting on a coat and tie. It's the body is supposed to bend to his will. 1 out of 100, and he has to be treated specially. This says something about how pathetic his attitude is and how pathetic the leadership of the Senate Majority Leader is, that he feels like he has to appease him by saying, yeah, I don't want you to feel uncomfortable. I don't want you to feel threatened or somehow, you know, feel bad about yourself. So come in your athletic gear.
And his people said that he was cleared to perform all senatorial duties and was up to the task. You would think that would include just applying to a very basic dress code. Quick question on this one. Top Democrats' bullishness on Biden 2024 collides with voter worries. This from the New York Times. The voters don't want this. That's in poll after poll, says James Carville, a longtime party strategist who worries that the lack of enthusiasm for Mr. Biden could lead to lower Democratic turnout in 2024. You can't look at what you look at and not feel some apprehension here, Carl. Your read on that?
Yes, 3 out of every 4 Americans think he's too old. That includes nearly 7 out of every 10 Democrats, and two-thirds of the American people think he is mentally not up to the task, which includes a near majority of Democrats. So yes, they've got problems. For months, we have been following the stories about the lack of enthusiasm among young voters and African-American voters and Latino voters, and now it has broken onto the scene. Lots of Democrats are concerned.
Okay, Carl, thank you. Always good to see you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.